arrives the forward test. Forward test of the things we think they'll do. First, second, third, and fourth. Thank you. Please be seated. Over for yourself. Thank you. Next, introduction of distinct Rotarians and guests. PPA.
Fire and Jess, fellow Rotarian and distinguished guests, we are very happy that we have two guests today. First of all is our speaker, Dr. Wei from Beijing. He is also a Rotarian member from Taipei North, Beijing.
Yes.
Dr. Wei. He used to be in Taichung Longzhong, and I used to be his patient.
Oh, okay, good.
I took MRI in his office when he was in Longzhong last year. Very happy to get acquainted with him. Please sit down. Yeah, and his assistant, also his colleagues, Nia Xu. Both of them are serving in Chengqing Hospital, which their boss is Jeff's father. We are very happy. Jeff is the sponsor of today, but he is not able to be with us now. So I'm going to tell you a Chinese joke. Today, only one joke is enough. A national bank in China was robbed. Do you know robbery? Got a robbery. And the robbers shout to all the officers of the bank, saying that we are going to take the money of the nation, not your money. But life is yours. Don't fight for the money. So all the people, they just lie down and listen to them, and the robbers took the money away and very smoothly. In the evening, the newspaper, the TV report about the robbery, and say the bank was robbed, and 100 million renminbi was taken away, and the chief of the robbers was so upset. He said, "It's not fair. We took only 20 million." And the general manager is just doing nothing, and he got 80 million. Thank you. I welcome Rotary members. Dr. Wei, please stand up. We are going to sing to welcome you.
Yes, oh Rotary, we greet you. Oh, yes, oh Rotary, we greet you. We want you to feel our friendship is real. We are glad you're here today. So take back home the beat of cheer. Regard from all the fellows here. And once more, you are here, our Lord. Come again, Rotarian, again.
Thank you.
Welcome, Dr. Wei.
Thank you, PPA, and thank you, Keith. Next, President's time.
Good afternoon. Very happy to see you all after London Festival, and really appreciate our fellow Rtn chef to recommend today's speaker. Give us a very healthy and a very nice speech, and also very appreciate our president's training last year. I have a chance to learn the experience at the meeting. Okay, thank you.
And it's my time, Secretary's time. Remind you again, our Love and Hope Carnival is going to be held this coming Saturday. So please be there, and you can collect $300, $600 per person. So please show up. And then our speech time. Let's welcome Mia to give introduction of our speaker today.
Thank you。容我用中文介绍一下韦医师韦主任。那报告一下，就是韦医师韦主任之前是在台北荣总。那10年前呢，我们在台中荣总的地下2楼成立一个磁振造影，就是 MRI 的一个健检中心。那10年的时间，我们其实在中部地区其实服务过非常多的一些企业主跟一些就是民意代表这样子。那其实很特别的是，因为我们跟荣总这边的话，其实是一个合约的关系，那其实是一个产官学RT 的关系。那所以我们在去年7月中旬的时候就跟中荣的关系告一个段落。那我们很幸运的是，我们整个团队其实跟澄清这边就是有一个新的一个合作的开始，所以我跟韦医师我们就从台中荣总转换到澄清医院。那大家可能知道澄清医院有一个中港大楼中港分院，那它的后面就是旁边的这个停车场，现在盖了一栋全新的大楼，那做的就是一个比较跟疾病这边比较做一个区分开，所以我们像一些比较澄清的一些复健科啦就会在这个新大楼。那我们刚好是在3楼跟4楼的部分，那楼上的部分接下来在今年中旬左右会成立，就是台中市这边很高级的一个坐月子中心。那目前的话，中心的话，其实我们就建构了3台的一个比较高阶影像的仪器。那我想今天韦医师呢，他想要给大家一个比较有趣的这个就是对于医学影像的这个部分有一个不一样的一个在我们的专业里面，在医学上面运用的部分。那因为我知道在场其实有很多的医师，那所以我赶快把时间交给韦医师，让韦医师来跟大家分享一下，在过去10年当中，我们在医学影像的领域里面有什么样的一个发现，然后也请大家多多指教，谢谢大家。
Okay, thank you, Mia. Good afternoon, President, Honorable PP and IPP. It's my great honor and pleasure to be here to see so many fellow Rotarians. It feel like come back to home. Yeah, before I came here, I did a little research about this club, and I know many of you are doctors. So before I choose the topic, I don't want to embarrass myself by saying something I'm not sure. So since I'm a radiologist, so I think I can share with you some of the ideas and knowledge about the imaging. So I chose a topic in the world of imaging medicine, and actually it's not a sentence, it's like an adverb. So what's inside the imaging medicine and how it can be applied in our everyday life. And actually, it's quite interesting that go on to see that. I think the imaging medicine originated from this guy we call Röntgen. He was a German physicist. I think everybody knows he discovered, actually not invent, he discovered X-ray. We have PowerPoint. I'm sorry. He discovered the X-ray in 1895. In that year, in Taiwan, there's a war, 甲午战争, and in the same year, he discovered X-ray accidentally, because at that time, before that, Edison invented the light bulb. So every physicist study cathodic tube, which is a way to emit light. So when he did the experiment and he found something on the fluorescent screen, he found something very vague but unfamiliar, and he got a hypothesis. It says maybe there's some light invisible, and that light can transmit through paper. And he didn't know what is that, so he called it X-ray. X means unknown light. Okay, and this is the lab in Germany, in Würzburg. I went there last year, and it looked like a very plain, but I think the whole office has been renovated. And this is the first the X-ray images, and this hand is her wife's hand, and at that time he did not know how to protect from radiation because he didn't know the radiation can kill people. So he used his wife's hand as a model and got these pictures, and this is a ring. Okay, and by the way, her wife died from, I think it's leukemia, because I don't know if there's something with the radiation, but actually her wife died from leukemia. It's a blood cancer. Okay, and several months after this one, he gets a lecture, and you can see how much improved the imaging quality after several months from here to here. And so you can see still there's a ring on the ring finger. And with that, he got the first Nobel Prize in 1900. So he's the first Nobel Prize in medicine. Okay, so it starts the imaging medicine. I think so. Okay. And now I am going to give some of the idea about what kind of tool we use in the hospital and also in other areas. The first one, I think everybody familiar with X-ray because we use a lot in the hospital. And we can see we use the X-ray to imaging hands and bone and a lot of organs, and mostly the bone, because it gives us a very clear picture about the bone and joint. And for this patient has severe rheumatoid arthritis, so he got deformity of all her hands. And this one is a degenerative arthritis knee. So we use that as a tool. Then the second one, I think everybody also familiar, especially gynecologists or OB as doctors, because we use a lot the ultrasound. And ultrasound use sound wave to transmit to our body and collect the rejection of sound acoustic wave and got the pictures. So the ultrasound pictures is not really anatomic images. It's a collection of all the reflected sound. And we use a lot in for the pregnant woman, also in the neck vessels studies, and with that we can see the fetus in mother's womb. Okay, so we use that a lot, and without it's very safe without any radiation because it doesn't use radiation beam. So this is the second tool we use a lot in the imaging medicine. And the third one invented in 1971. Actually, this year is not the year people invent this machine. Is the year people start to use this machine in a clinical setting. And the first CT machine invented in EMI company in England. Okay, and that one is very prototype. So it's not so fancy like this one. This is the most advanced one. We installed this machine in the hospital in our center last year. So it changed a lot in about 40 years. And can you imagine when patients come to first in the old CT scan, how long it would take to finish a head examination? It takes about 30 minutes. And for now, it takes about 15 seconds. So it's got a lot of advanced improvement in the performance. And I think the main thing is the computer. It's the computer science because all these images are digitized. So it's like a number. So you need a computer to actually process all the imaging data. So with the improvement of computer science, and so we got a very fast imaging. Okay, so with this machine, we can start to look at our body piece, slice by slice, piece by piece. So we can, it's like use a knife to cut our body transversely, and so we can see all these images. This abdomen images, we can see our kidney, and this kidney has a tumor in it. And we also can change the direction. Actually, when we did the examination, the X-ray did not go from head to toe direction. Actually, these images was calculated from the raw data, from the original transverse section, and transformed and turned into the coronal section. So it's a different calculation. And with the new machine, we can do that. So we can actually plan the different direction of scanning. Okay. But with this machine, it uses X-ray, so it has radiation. It just uses the same energy source to produce different images. Okay. So talking about the radiation, I think everybody are curious about how much radiation when we did examination, and this is give you an idea. When we do nothing, we just expose to our natural environment. We got 2.4 millisievert to our body in a year. Okay, so when you take a chest X-ray, it's like a 0.02 millisievert. When you did a CT for the head examination, it's 1 to 2 millisievert. But if you do a more like an abdominal CT for the whole body, it's like 20. so it's a lot. Okay. So the CT scan is only used in diagnosis. Okay. Then I think probably everybody of you has heard about the low-dose lung CT for lung cancer screening. And how much radiation is that? It's about 1.5 millisievert. And actually, it depends the body size you can, or depends on what kind of machine you use. You can lower the radiation to even less than 1.5 millisievert for like a 1.0 millisievert. And we also heard about when you have chest pain, you probably worry about the coronary artery disease, and we can use CT to calculate or to estimate the risk of you to have coronary artery disease. And with that kind of examination, the radiation is about 3 millisievert. And you can lower that a little bit, just play around the instruments and still got a good result. Then, other than CT and the imaging physicists invent another imaging tool we call MRI, and this, I think everybody also familiar with these machines. And with that, two physicists and chemists got the Nobel Prize too. One is from United States and one is from England. And this is also the machine looks like. And again, the first MRI machine installed in Taiwan. Do you know which hospital is that? Actually, in Taichung. It's the Taichung Longzong. Yeah, it's the first MRI installed in Taiwan, and that's 1985. I was an intern at that time. And how long would it take to do a head examination? It takes about a half day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it takes about a half day to do the head examination, and people want to do that, and they have to beg their doctors, I want to do this, and please move the waiting list ahead for me, and that kind of things. And with that, for the machine now we use, it takes about 5 minutes to finish the head examination, and you can also scan the whole body. Takes about 70 minutes to finish the examination, so it improved a lot. And with the MRI, there's no radiation because they use a different kind of physics. With the MRI, it's like this machine is like collects all the signals emitted from our body. So it collects all the signals from the water in our body and transform the signals to images. So there's no radiation involved in this examination. So it's a safe examination. And also, I go back a little bit. With the CT, the guy invented CT also got the Nobel Prize. So for the imaging medicine, a lot of people get the Nobel Prize. And this one is the MRI images. So it looks like you can scan all the vessels in the neck, in the brain, spine, neck, chest, abdomen, pelvis, and also the bone and joint. Okay, so these are imaging equipments, imaging tools we use a lot in our imaging medicine. Then In the next section, I will talk about how we apply that. And okay, there's another one I almost forgot to introduce. That is PET. The PET, and with PET, it's a radiation involved that because we inject the radioactive isotope into our body, and some tissues with high metabolic 新陈代谢 metabolic rate that would absorb more glucose isotope, so it would become a bright area, bright organ, and we use this principle to detect or to study if there's a tumor in that area. And so it's a pure PET images. With this image, you cannot see the details of our body structures. So scientists start to combine the anatomic images with so-called functional images or metabolic images together. So we call it PET-CT. So we combine two different imaging studies together to get us this kind of images. So we not only know which organ has a problem, and we also know the locations. Okay, so we use that a lot in so-called oncology, 肿瘤科. We use that a lot to detect those metastatic tumors. For this person, it's like there's a tumor in the liver. Okay, so as you can imagine, when you combine two different radiation rich modality or tools together, it gives you more radiation exposure. So it's only used in diagnosis. Okay. Then we can see these are old images from Taipei Veteran Hospitals. This is a 65 man came to emergency room with complaining abdominal pain in the right lower part of abdomen. Okay, then a surgeon was called in to examine this patient, and he took all the histories and talked to the patient, say, you probably got appendicitis and you need to go to surgery. In the good old days, patient would say, thank you doctors, go for it. But at this moment, patient would say, okay, doctor, are you sure about I had acute appendicitis? So right now, surgeon need to do images to convince the patients and convince himself of the true diagnosis. And this is a CT examination, and we can see his appendix swells a lot, and confirm he got appendicitis and need to go to operation room. So the imaging medicine is in this case is used for diagnosis and for the treatment planning. Okay, and this is the for the 90% of time we use for this imaging studies. Now we can see another imaging medicine used in this dimension. Okay, this is an fetus MRI. It's not a CT because we cannot use a radiation for the infant and for the pregnant mother. And so we can actually look into the womb and to see how our fetus look like. And we did it not for fun. Even it's safe, but we did not do that for fun. It's because when the OBS doctors examine the fetus and found probably there's something wrong in the fetus, and they want to confirm if any deformity in the fetus. So she was referred to radiology for this examination. So we can see, and actually we are very amazed to see how fetus do in mother's womb. Okay, and another more shocking images, the conjoined twin. So we can before the fetus was delivered, we can examine how the situation in mother's womb. So we use MRI also for diagnosis. And there's another PET CT, and we use that imaging tool to stage it, to stage the cancer. For example, this woman had cervical cancer and with a bone pain, so the clinical doctor want to know if anything wrong with her bone and if the tumor actually metastasized to bone. So she did a PET MRI and found there are bright spots in the spine and also in the lymph nodes. So a lot of lymph nodes, and she unfortunately this woman has a cervical cancer and with the tumor spreading to other organ tissue. And since we know we got so many tools in our hands, and some are safer than the others, and so doctors and some radiologists start to think about how can we use these tools to actually screening, not for disease diagnosis, but disease detection. So we use MRI because we know the MRI ultrasound is more safe. It's safer for us. So we use that tool to do cancer screening. And actually, in this case, it's a 66-year-old female retired teacher. Before she planned to go to Japan for a vacation, he actually did a body examination, and we found there's a tumor in her lung. And so we can see that before that he got a X-ray because he did a whole body examination, and so it's 1 week, about 1 week before, and he did a brain chest ray and did not find anything wrong in the lung. But I think about 10 days later, we found there's a tumor in the lung, and the tumor is really small. So he got operation and recovered very well in a few days. So this is one example. We use the MRI for the disease detection for the tumor screening. Another case is a 72-year-old symptomatic businessman. Actually, he did not have anything uncomfortable, and surprisingly, we found his vessels is narrow in the neck, and on the other side, the cerebral artery is almost missing. Okay, so actually he was very lucky because he did not have any stimulus or any situation that raised his blood pressure, or he did not do the strenuous exercise. So the blood supply is failed enough for his knee. So he did not have symptoms. So we found that situation, and he got vascular stenting after the examination, and I think he's safer after those procedure because his blood supply improved a lot after the stenting. Okay, there's another way we do disease screening or detection, and some people will more worry about heart, and as we know, heart is beating forever, so we cannot stop the heart and image the heart. So we need another tool to look at the heart, and the MRI is not good enough to see those vessels. So we go back to use CT, and we know CT has radiation. So before that, we actually have to evaluate those patients. When they have a higher risk, we suggest them to take examination. But otherwise, we suggest them to do another examination with lower radiation dose. And so with this so-called multi-detector row CT, and we can see clearly those arteries on the heart. Okay, and with newer machine, I just told you the scanning time is become shorter, and the rotation of the X-ray tube become faster, so they can catch those beating heart. Okay, and in the old day, we need to go to the catheterization lab to get 心导管. But with this machine, it's relatively non-invasive. You use only intravenous 静脉 to inject dye and image this heart, and relatively low radiation dose. And actually, it's probably you are not satisfied with this millisiever. Is still 4 to 12, and it also depends on what kind of machine you use and what kind of mode you operate those machines. And for the time being, I think in our experience, it's like somewhere between 4 and 5 millisiever. And in the old day, it's 12 millisiever, and it's much higher. Okay. So we already use imaging tool to do disease diagnosis, disease screening, and now it's going to a more interesting field. We use this as a forensic radiology, 法医. Okay, and we can use those imaging tools to do age detection, age determination, sex determination, cause of death, crime detection. Okay, and this is a case when a radiologist read about this child's chest film. When we found there are at least 3 fracture sites. Any one of you want to guess if what happened to this child?
Abuse.
Yeah, abused. Yeah. So when you look at those images, and a radiologist must know the possibility that the child has been abused and repeatedly shaken by either their parents or other people. And because the bone is so fragile for the children, and if the adult hold it tightly enough and shaking, and it's very easy to break the ribs. And want to guess what's wrong with this film? Do you see? It's not a very. It's a little bit fun looking. It's a shadow with look like a very similar size and an oval shape.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone want to guess?
Drug. Is it drug? Carrier.
Yeah. Somebody want to cheat in the custom and took cocaine and put it into their storage. And so when the custom officer called them and asked him to take an X-ray, then we found there's drugs in his bowels. Okay, so it's like a crime detection. And we also use this method to determine those crimes or those accidents. When we see there's a wedge-shaped fracture like this, then we can know the force is coming from this way, and it was hit by a car from the lateral side. So this will help to solve the crime. And also for this person, we see there's a hemorrhage in the brain, and the hemorrhage go through the subarachnoid space. So we know it's not a natural bleeding; it's actually a trauma. And this one, if we don't take X-ray, we just know this person, this victim, has a broken head, the skull bone fractures. But with these pictures, we know that this area was depressed, so it must be hit by something, and it hit by a hammer. So it's not like he fall down by himself. It actually was hit. Okay, we also can, with the CT, we actually can reconstitute the gunshot pathway and to determine who shoots the victims. So this is also one of the application we use in imaging. Okay, and then we go into another frontier of imaging medicine. We call it functional MRI. With this bright spots, actually it measures how much blood flow in a certain blood tissue. If something is bright, which means a lot of blood accumulate in this area, and as we know, our brain need a lot of energy, need a lot of supply when we use that area. So by this way, we actually know when we see pictures, when we speak, when we have an emotional change, we know which part of the brain is working right now. For example, these people, when he speak, if you give them a card and ask them to speak, and two areas was brightened. One is the left frontal area and the temporal area. 前面跟额叶跟颞叶. So we know this the center of our speaking center. And with the MRI, functional MRI, it would help the surgeon to do the treatment planning. For example, when we see this patient has a brain tumor in this area, and the surgeon wants to plan how to do the surgery and want to know if this surgery would leave this patient's any disabilities. So he took the functional MRI and found actually his speaking center and comprehension center actually not disturbed because this area is not surgical area. These are two main areas to control this ability. So when he took the surgery, it won't damage the patient's ability to speak and to learning. Okay, so somebody have a fancy idea. want to know if we tell a lie, how the functional MRI would tell. And actually in the United States, there's 2 companies, they offer this kind of service. And so when somebody, especially the young girl, when she has a partner she wants to marry too, then she asks her boyfriend to see if the boyfriend tell a lie, saying he loved her very much. So in this company, they offer this kind of service. And when we look at the functional MRI, we know when people tell the truth or tell a lie, the writing area is different. For example, if we tell a lie, the frontal, superior medial frontal, and inferior lateral temporal will bright up. But if the truth is other areas, so by this way, scientists can predict, see if the examinee tell a lie or not. But actually, for more serious scientists, they don't think it's a good way to do that, because there's so many things need to be sorted out before it can be applied in the crime detection use. So I remember a recent movie. I don't know how many of you has seen this movie. It says Searching Happiness, and in the end of the movie, this guy went to a university to measure how much happiness he had, and actually when he remember all the happiness hour he and his girlfriend, and the scale is going up and up and up, and eventually beyond the scale. So it's another way to measure our emotion. We use this kind of method, and the same thing can be also the imaging modality can also be used to solve the ancient mystery. I know everybody knows King Tutankhamun. He was a very young king of Egypt and was killed at a young age. And his tomb was discovered accidentally, and found everything is well kept. And people start to think about what kind of cause caused his death. And in the old day, people think he was murdered. And the new piece of evidence using the CT scan and found actually her bone was infected. So it reversed all the hypothesis. Probably he was not murdered, and instead he was died. He died from injuries, either from combat or from sports. And for the last part of this application, this is my collection. One day I was very tired looking at these images and found things very interesting. Do you see this one, like 2 eyes and a mouth, and 2 eyes and mouth, 2 eyes and mouth, and it's a serial cut. And this is the bone, it's a tailbone here, 剑骨. And when we do the transverse cut, and actually you can find it's fun. And another fun thing is one day I look at the patient's images. I found there's a heart in the liver. Yeah. So it's like if you say it in Chinese, it's like a 心肝宝贝. Yeah. And we use MRI to do some of the so-called artistic application, and this is actually a cactus, and we can scan the cactus and apply a different color scale on it, and this will look like beautiful things. And also on the onion. Yeah, it's the MRI pictures. We scan the MRI. We put the onion in the MRI and scan it and put the color scale on it. And these are not done by us, but this fine art done by other people and use the X-ray to image those shell or plants. And they got a very different view perspective of the images. So with that, I want to thank you for your attention. There's many application in imaging medicine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Wei. Next, the presentation of the gift award. You have it. Next, attendance report with Euro.
This is attendance report. Thank you, Dr. Wei's expert speech. Today we have only 15 members attending the meeting, and 1 visiting Rotarian, 1 guest. So the attendance rate is 56%. Not so good.
Due to the absence of our President's Game, so we have a low attendance rate. So before we adjourn the meeting, Dr. Lee would like to talk about something for 1 minute.
Excuse me, just 1 minute. Yeah, I highly recommend you to see the performance of Shen Yun. They came to Taichung last year, and my wife and I have been there and to watch this very wonderful performance. They are coming to Taichung again, and on April 6th to 10th, I have already bought 2 tickets. I recommend you to have a look of this performance. Thank you. 4月6号到10号在台中演出你们可以上网去买票不过好的位置要赶快不然的话可能会卖光非常好，因为它那个是传统的中国舞蹈加上现代的那个交响乐
Maybe adjourn, please ring the bell.
Okay, thank you.